Emily Sande with When Someone Loves You, and welcome back. You're listening to the Country Viewpoint on Flow FM. We're entering into our second hour of the show today, and I caught up recently with Stephen Coe, the cybersecurity expert, to talk about a number of scams. It's a new year, but the same old hackers and scammers are thriving online, and they're only getting more intelligent and appearing to be more legitimate. I started off by asking Stephen exactly what the landscape looks like right now with regards to cybersecurity.
Scams continue to follow the money, where the money is, and the scammers will continue their activities. So obviously with one of the big ones is the continuation of the ransomware, where the scammers try and get you to click on something or download a bit of malware, and then they lock up your machine and then ask for money for them to unlock that data again. So that will definitely continue, and we're seeing an increased sophistication of these ransomware gangs, where they're actually carrying out these bug bounty programs, meaning that they're asking the general public out there on the internet to report sort of bugs and new ways of hacking, so that they can and then rewarding them with some money, and then incorporating those techniques into their malware. So that's that increased level of sophistication, so they can become more effective. But the other one that's really affecting us all is the continuation of tax scams. We have tax year, tax refunds, taxation money being happening all the time. So these just repeat every year, but again getting more sophisticated. As they leverage social media now, we're seeing that these scammers are going to chat forums like Facebook, the ATO chat forums, and then they will actually look at, so for example, if you posted something, a question to the ATO saying, hey, I've got a refund of $2,000, but I'm not sure how to get a refund or whatever, and my name is such and such, they will actually create a fake ATO profile that looks like an ATO Facebook profile, and then contact them directly and say, hey, I'm John from ATO, let me help you with this, and gain some trust and build a relationship, and then scam you of your bank details, for example. So that's what we need to watch out for.
All right, I'm going to get to all that in a second, Stephen. I just want to take this opportunity to ask you now about the fact that I've certainly seen in more recent times, we're getting this trend of people who have loved ones who are a little bit older. There's a lot more reliance on sort of technology. They're getting more accustomed to using smartphones, and there's more reliance on apps and things like that. So for people in that sort of position who have a vulnerable loved one who's increasingly susceptible to being scammed online, what are some ways in which people can take better measures to make sure that older people who are not particularly savvy when it comes to technology but just getting used to using it don't fall for the everyday traps that the rest of us can sort of sniff out pretty early on?
Real good point, Ellis. And we all have loved ones that are starting to use more. And like my mum, for example, is 82, turning 83 this year, and certainly, they're getting used to smartphones and new ways of working. And I think when you start using these technologies, you have this base level of trust, and you trust information that's coming out of Google and Facebook, and you think that that's well-meaning and from the right authorities. But what we need to sort of shift our mind is that we need to be actually super paranoid, because the scammers can pretend and be like reputable people on the internet. So it's sometimes hard to pick that out. So being super cautious and to the point of being a bit paranoid is really important.
Stephen Coe, the cybersecurity, joining me earlier on here on the Country Viewpoint. And when we return on the other side of this break, we'll focus in on the latest MyGov scam that is raking up a lot of victims online. That's on the way here on the Country Viewpoint. Dermot Kennedy's song Kiss Me, and welcome back. It is the Country Viewpoint here on Flow FM, speaking with Stephen Coe, the cybersecurity expert. Well, scammers online are constantly finding ways to evolve their approach when it comes to duping people, and here's Stephen talking about some of their latest methods in 2023.
If you get a message from someone you don't recognize saying, hey, I'm such and such, click on this or download this or call this number because you've got some prize or some delivery or whatever, be skeptical. And if you haven't, if you don't recognize it, double check it, and if you and don't click on anything. So I think being paranoid is one thing, and then and the other thing is talking to your loved ones and family and friends is really important. Sharing that information, because it's easy for us to feel like, oh, I've been duped, I've fell into this trap. I feel really a bit stupid. I don't want to talk about it. Whereas we actually should be talking about it because these scammers are so sophisticated now. We're all falling, for these things. And so the more we talk about it, the more our loved ones will know what to watch out for. So that information sharing is actually really important. The MyGov email scam and also the taxation one, the scammers are relying on the fact that we are trusting and we are waiting for a tax refund, or we trust the MyGov emails and messages, right? So they normally come in via your SMS or social media or your email saying, and hey, you've got some refund, or this MyGov, you've got a letter from the ATO. Can you click on this? And as you said, the websites that they may take you through, the messages themselves look really, really legit. They take the logo, so it's really hard to detect. And then from there on, it tries to get you to click on something, which then will lead you to either stealing your bank details. They may try and get you to give them your bank details so that they can then extract money from you, or log into your bank account to get money from your account. So the level of sophistication is such that it's really specific. And as I sort of mentioned before already, they start watching all these social media channels, whether it's it's Facebook or others, and they know your name. They know that they also know where you may live, or how much you're expecting back, for example, or how much tax you owe, that sort of stuff, because you may have discussed that in the social media context, and then they leverage that to fool you with really realistic looking messages and websites. So the thing is, the ATO and other government departments will never send you a message, whether through SMS or Facebook, that has a link for you to click. So if you have a legitimate, refund and the conversation that you need to have with the authorities, make it that you actually contact them. You go to the ATO website, type in the ATO URL, the website address, and then actually contact them and log in. So you take the initiative instead of following a link. So that's a big the one big advice that will really help. Don't click on something, but you actually take the initiative to contact them. The other one is install something like an Avast One, antivirus, anti-malware software. That has a free version, for example, that will give you that baseline protection. So to me, it's like locking your doors and windows so that it's not so easy to get in, to break into a house. So by having such a software, you've got at least a baseline sort of protection, and it will detect malicious links, malicious software that gets downloaded if you inadvertently click on something. So those couple of things will really help. And of course, the voice calls. So I've been getting a lot of the robot calls. That I get a voicemail and it says, "Hey, you've got a tax money due, whatever. Call this number." Again, if you have to call the authorities, go to the website or find out what the ATO's real number is, and then call that instead of just believing the number on the message that you get, because that could be a fake one.
Stephen Coe, the cybersecurity expert, lending us some of his time on the Country Viewpoint today. Ricky Lambert's interview hour is coming up shortly, so stay tuned here on the Country Viewpoint. I'll see you after this break.